opportunity for Charlotte off the set piece. It is going to be the man out of Poland. The shot, yes!
And it's gone in. It's an Olympico. Yoshiki pulls it back. The shot and another goal.
And look who's coming on. Ryan Romero. Here's Romero. Hit the shot, kid.
Goal!
For the city, for the crown.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Offsides Podcast, the unofficial official podcast of Charlotte Football Club. As always, I'm your host, Andres Robledo, and I'm joined by my co-host, Pablo Robledo. And as is tradition, Pablo, when we play Houston, we got to bring on the dynamic duo of Herman and OSG. How you guys doing today?
My H's are up right now. You know, OSG's always got his H's up, bro. How y'all doing, man? Good to talk to y'all again.
Yeah, good to have you guys back.
Thank you. We're a little pissed and upset, but y'all are so nice to us, so we're doing a little bit better. So thank you.
Yeah, it was good to see Charlotte win, but I didn't want to see us kick a friend out of the tournament. It was a hard one to watch, but we'll get more into that. But I gotta say, it was I thought a very good game. Hopefully you guys thought the same thing, but we'll definitely get into it.
Hey, we're ready for it. Let's get into it, man. We're ready.
A little bit of news to cover for the Charlotte FC side before we get into that. We have a new signing, and I've got the pronunciations here, thankfully. We have Jare Oronen. Hopefully that is the correct pronunciation. Defender from Finland, 29-year-old, coming from League One. Will be joining Charlotte here in the next couple days, pending the P1 visa. But nice to see Charlotte finally add some extra depth at the back line that we've been needing so desperately this season. So hopefully, people seem pretty excited about him. He's got a lot of great stats, played, pretty much at the highest level in Europe, and has come away with a couple of silverware. So we're excited to see him join the Charlotte team. And then as well as that, it seems, Charlotte has a one-in, one-out policy going right now for that back line. We are sad to see Joseph Mora go. He has been waived by Charlotte FC. He played, 30 matches for Charlotte across all competitions. I would say a very underrated hero of Charlotte, a very solid player that just never got the treatment he deserves. Pablo, what are your kind of thoughts on those two new pieces of transfer news?
Well, hopefully we filled that gap with this guy that we got in. That's kind of like one position that's been like a black hole, basically. Like, no matter who we put in there, they can't seem to stay healthy, or they can't just seem to figure out the position. I would say out of our whole back line, the left side has been our weakest up until recently. Byrne has been doing for a 2-game streak, a very good job, but we still haven't found a guy that can do it consecutively week after week. So, and we thought that Mora, despite his injury and all that, was going to be the guy. He performed fairly well. You and I both liked him, as well as like other fans, but I guess he didn't fit into the game plan. Maybe he didn't get along with the staff. Not sure what happened, but I didn't see that one coming at all. So it took me a little bit by surprise, but hopefully he does well.
Yeah, hoping him the best going forward. Pablo, any other bits of news you want to cover before we jump into the latest League Cup matches?
Well, I did want to give a shout out to all the Mexican people out there. Good congrats on the win, on the Gold Cup victory against Panama, I believe it was. Mexico has done it again. But, it's pretty much expected it's either going to be Mexico, U.S., or Canada. I don't think there's been any other winners. And Mexico has won it the most out of anybody in that cup so far. But still, a job well done for those guys.
Yeah, congrats to them.
I do want to say it wasn't as easy, It was a 1-0 win, like it took them the whole game to get that W, and Panama really, at the start of the game, they really should have gone up 1-0. They had a good chance to go up, but they didn't take advantage of it. So it's a big deal for Panama. They got into the final but can't seem to win it. They need to get over that hurdle psychologically, but it was a good match. But yes, congrats to Mexico. But there's other teams growing in the area. I think the game has changed in our region the past couple of years.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that, Herman. Because when I was out at a restaurant when the game came on, and when I saw the finals, and I saw it was Panama, I was like, wow, like typically it's not. This is out of the norm. Like it's typically not these guys. So it is good to see the talent evolve in other smaller unknown teams that generally don't make it this far. And not only that they made it that far, but they put up such a hard fought match against Mexico, because it was, like you said, a while before they scored. You said like 80 something minute. I know it was late in the second half, but
87.
oh, was it? Okay, yeah. So still, good match overall, and congrats to those guys, just everybody in general.
And from the Dynamo side, man, shout out to Coco Carrasquilla for being the gold, whatever they called it, the gold man of the tournament, getting the MVP of the tournament. And he had 1 assist and no goals. So he was obviously crucial for Panama at the same time. So good job for Panama to get into that, eliminating USA in penalties and then just putting up a good fight against Mexico, but they couldn't do it, man. Unfortunate.
Yeah, I actually watched the Panama US game, and he stood out a lot. I was like, man, this guy is playing really well, and not being too plugged into MLS overall. And obviously in Houston, I like looked him up, and I was like, oh man, he plays for Dynamo, like of course, like so he was actually one of the guys I was keeping an extra eye on last night, because he really impressed me on that US match. I kind of felt like he was one of the biggest influences on that team that got them the win over the US.
Big difference between us and Panama. We don't use him the same way, but he was definitely crucial for Panama. And like I said, shout out to them, shout out to him, and hopefully they can grow and hopefully they can get their butts into the World Cup next. Or 26, sorry, not next year. Too soon.
Yeah. Just shout out Mexico. Any other news, Pablo?
No, that's all I really had. I mean, Messi's still dominating the headlines, so
yeah. So let's jump into that real quick while we've got some new perspective on the podcast. As you guys know, Messi's joined the MLS and has been making a big impact on the Leagues Cup so far. He's all over MLS Season Pass. I mean, you got to go through like 4 or 5 different pages before you can even watch another team play. What is your guys' opinions on Messi joining the league and the impact he's had, and especially against the first couple of games he's been in? He's taken on a couple of conference rivals with Atlanta, Orlando, and now Dallas as well. What are your guys' thoughts on him joining Miami and the change he's had on the league so far?
You want the good or the bad first?
Oh, whatever you want to start with. We're here for it.
bad.
Herman, go ahead. Oh, bad. Okay, shoot. I'm sick of the man already, man. All right. I appreciate Messi. I'm Messi over Ronaldo 100%, and I know what Messi can do, and he's going to be a good help to the league and hopefully bring more players in the future. But now he's in the MLS. Now he's an enemy. He's a straight up enemy, and I'm just sick of everybody just loving the man to the fullest. Like you have people in your own, like I don't know what it's like in your Charlotte Discord or your Charlotte chat group, or where you're the Charlotte supporter section. We got fools loving Messi more than they're loving their own team. It's just getting old and getting sick already. And man, it's just so I'm starting to love to hate the guy. Not really hate the guy, not to tell you the truth, but I'm just getting sick of just everybody just Messi, 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 Messi. And so that's where I'm at. The man's great. He's doing a good job. He's doing his thing, and everybody said it was going to be easy when he came to the MLS. And I'm hoping to God that y'all could just put the man down and eliminate him from the tournament. And when I say put him down, I don't mean hurt him or anything. I just say eliminate him from the tournament. And I hope take care of business. I'm just sick of the Messi already. It's a mess.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, OSG, just because, Charlotte throughout this whole tournament has been the underdog. They didn't think that we would beat Cruz Azul. They didn't think that we would beat Houston, and obviously now it's like nobody has any faith in Charlotte going against Miami. But if we win, I mean, obviously not only does that silence all the doubters out there, but I think it gives us a very good chance of like number one contenders. If we beat Miami, we should be able to beat everybody else.
Well, yeah, theoretically, like on paper, you'll still be the underdogs going forward. You're gonna most likely have Philly next if paper goes right, and then after that, that's for the semifinal. Then for the final, you're gonna have LAFC if paper goes right. So you still got a tough road ahead of you, no matter what. Hopefully y'all can handle your friggin' business and just put all that pink, make them forget about everything. Beyonce, LeBron, Beckham, everybody, put them all, just like make them forget about it for a few minutes and just like, because hopefully they don't even make the playoffs when it comes to MLS. They're gonna have to go undefeated, I think, to win those last not necessarily because they're still close, but hopefully, man, just take care of business and just put them to sleep for a minute, please.
Herman, what's your take on the whole thing? I think you got a different perspective on it.
Yeah, mine's the complete opposite. At the end of the day, as much as we love this sport, all four of us, this is an entertainment business. That's why they're gonna flash Messi all over Apple TV, because that's what 90% of people on Apple TV want to watch. I just made that number up. And in the end, part of his pay is new subscribers to Apple TV. So that's what their MLS, Apple, and Messi are all trying to make money. So they know the product that they need to sell, and they're gonna shove it down everybody's throat. The other thing to consider as well is Messi, even though he's 36, I want to say, the guy still has soccer left, like he's still playing at a high level,
That's what happens
and
when you don't.
you should,
That's what happens when you don't defend.
comes here at a high level. And then the other thing that happens when you brought high name profiles to MLS, they weren't hustling, they weren't taking it seriously, they weren't respecting the game. Messi has done the opposite, man. He's treating this like the World Cup. The reason everybody's talking is because he's putting the shittiest team in the league. Now they're relevant. Him and Busquets running that midfield, they flipped this team that's dead last in the East, and all of a sudden they're contenders. Like, it's entertaining to watch, man. Like the last minute free kick, his first game versus Cruz Azul, which is Cruz Azul has so much talent. That's awesome to see. Versus Dallas, I mean, 4-2. You think they're gonna be out, and Messi magic at the 85th minute. It's just that's what the people pay to see. It brings relevancy to the MLS, and there's already sources saying that they're gonna loosen the roster rules, which I think we're all in agreement that we want for the league, and they're gonna add a fourth DP spot. So tell me how that's not good for the league.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think everyone wants to see those roster rules loosened up, and I mean, apparently even owners are wanting that so they can spend more money. But just to touch on like the Messi effect, it's like not only has he kind of put this team on his back alongside Sergio Busquets, which was very evident in the Cruz Azul game, but now even in this Orlando game and Dallas game, I feel like a lot of other players around him have really elevated. Like Robert Taylor was not a name I knew at all and had no interest in learning about, but now like this guy is just as exciting to watch now. He is capable of some good stuff. DeAndre Yedlin seems to be kind of making a comeback as well. I believe it's like Kamal Miller was one of the center backs that's looking good. So like I feel like has elevated the whole team in general in just a short amount of time. And then kind of like you mentioned, like that free kick to win the game against Cruz Azul, the free kick against Dallas, his first or second goal against Orlando, like not only is he, elevating guys around him, but he's also bringing the highlights, which is nice to see, right? It's not often you get to see a lot of MLS goals kind of make the viral Twitter grounds. But he is kind of bringing in what he was brought in to do and produce some golazos, some exciting highlights, some eye-catching stuff. So it's been definitely interesting to see him join the league and the effect he's had. But what did you guys think of his match against Dallas? You know, them kind of being an in-state rival. Were you going one way or the other on that, or were you happy to see them get put away? Or was it kind of like, oh, I kind of wish your in-state rivals would have taken him out?
Look, for me, I can't stand Frisco. I mean, like I really can't. I mean, I can't stand Austin, but Frisco is the second to me if you want to prioritize them. But I wanted Frisco to win just so I can play Frisco next and go to Frisco. I wasn't worried about Messi and playing Miami and maybe putting Messi out. You know, for us it's local, so we would have been able to go to the game. If you go to Miami, you're paying for your next kid's freaking graduation or
Yeah.
college tuition. Like, so no, it doesn't make any kind of sense, whatever. And then we still have a chance to play Messi in the Open Cup. You know, he's going to be here for what, a couple years, so you're going to get to see him eventually. So I just wanted Messi to be eliminated, just so everybody can calm down. Like I did say, he's doing a great job, and they're promoting him left and friggin' right. But Jesus Christ, slow down, man. I mean, even like you said, it takes 5 pages to get to our own team. When I get to my own team, I still got to go through 30 minutes of messy promotion just to hear the pregame for our own game, and it's just getting annoying. That's how I feel. So I wish Dallas could have held up and won that game, and that's what happens when the fans get all happy and said, "Y'all are done, Messi's done," and talking all that crap. You know, karma sucks. They came back and tied them, and they won in friggin' penalties. But that's just my thought. I'm, I'm over it.
Yeah, and then I'll do this to kind of segue into our match because I think that was kind of the last bit of news. But the other like real thing that's making him very prevalent, it does seem like when I was watching the game on TV, the broadcasters continually every 3 or 4 minutes kept mentioning like winner of this gets to play Messi. You know, Houston is trying to hold on to this lead to play Messi. Charlotte, you know, win the game and they get to play Messi in Miami, and it was like no mention of the quarterfinal or continuing to make a cup run or, you know, continuing to make a push for the final. It was just like, oh man, how great is it that they're going to get to go play Miami now, like in Miami, kind of making it seem like that's like what we were playing for. I don't know if you guys were able to go to the game in person or watch it on TV, and if you heard any of that stuff, but what do you take of that kind of being the only takeaway that the analysts had for our match?
Go ahead, Herman.
Yeah, no, OSG and I were both at the game last night, so we didn't really hear it, but that's going to happen every time. I mean, don't you want to play the best? I mean, come on now.
I mean, I heard it, but our fans started to chant in the friggin' first half saying, "We want Messi, we want Messi," and we're like, "STFU, bro! Like, let's win the friggin' game first." Of course, Baird, you know, we hadn't even got to that point yet. We were already up, you know, win 1-0, and they're like, they're starting this damn chant. I'm like, just stop, bro. Win the game, and then once that whistle blows, then you can call for friggin' Messi, and then let's take on Messi. And of course, you want Messi, you want to take on Messi, you want to beat Messi, but we had to take care of business first. And everybody's just getting premature on that chance.
Yeah. Pablo, what was your take on that? I don't know if you heard it on the broadcast or not, but how do you feel about? I mean, they're not even mentioning that we're playing Inter Miami; they're just mentioning that we're playing Messi. So it's not even Inter Miami getting the shout out. It's literally just one guy. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's been Messi's Miami ever since he joined the team. Basically, it's not Inter Miami. It's not anything like that. It's Messi's Miami, and then in the future, it's going to be, you know, Messi's MLS. He is, you know, one of the best players of our generation. He brings a lot of eyes. What he does is amazing, and he makes it seem just effortless. But I'm kind of with OSG on this one. I'm just like, one, focus on the task at hand, and just kind of, you know, win the game, and then focus on Miami, not just Messi. But he is also like a player to watch. Like, you know, he will pull defenders and then use that to, or the team can use that to their advantage. Where, you know, he's pulling 2 defenders to him, and then he's leaving the third or second striker open. But it is a bit. I mean, I also want to say that it's not just the commentators. I'm sure it's like MLS and Apple pushing their agenda for subscribers and how to promote games and how to make people be excited about like who's gonna play next against Messi, basically. So there's it's like a two-sided coin there. You gotta try to see it from both perspectives. I saw a post out there where it's like Apple has done more for MLS in the past, I think, 7 months than ESPN has done for 27 years. But I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, it's like now you got to subscribe to Apple and you can only watch it through there. So again, I don't know like what their agenda is on that.
Yeah. I did also see something, I think before his debut against Cruz Azul, he had in an Instagram post or something had linked the sign up page for MLS Season Pass, and they had like a 400% growth in subscribers just from his link alone. So, I mean, it's obviously been a smart business move on their end to help acquire him and have everyone kind of chip in.
That's all it is, man. It's a business move. When he plays y'all, that Panther Stadium gonna sell out, dude.
Oh yeah.
It's all a business move. This is all business. Can't take
That's
it personal, man. Can't
that's
take
if we
it
put in
personal.
the grass.
Oh yes, that's a good point. Good point. Which is good, right? Player safety,
True.
right?
Yeah.
Player safety, no?
A
Well,
little bit of a net there.
they've already come out and
Not
said that they aren't going to put in grass. So we'll see what happens. All right, so let's get into the main topic of this episode. The reason we brought you guys here, Charlotte versus Houston. We didn't think we were going to see it this year. The stars aligned. We were able to meet up again back in Houston on a nice 93-degree day, I heard it was. Bit of a late kickoff for me, as I think a 9:30, 10 p.m. kickoff. A bit late nowadays for me. But let's just jump straight into it. Charlotte eked out a 2-1 victory. Herman, OSG, I would love to hear, your guys' perspective on the overall game.
Oh man. Oh. Yeah.
It was a beautiful evening. There was wind, so it wasn't that hot. There was no sun. So it was great weather, dude. It was great weather. Go ahead, OSG.
Yeah, no, I can back up on of that. We did feel a very good breeze that we are not used to in the stadium, and of course it being a sunken stadium at the same time, like it's hard to feel that breeze. There's not much openage to get it to get air into the stadium, and of course we don't have shade. So the 8:30 start, being late on a Monday night, 8:30 Central, sorry, being late on a Monday night, it's you know, yeah, it was dark, so that helped a little bit. So it wasn't as humid. I mean, we're from Houston. We're used to it. We're whatever. We go to the game. We go to every single game. So weather's not an issue for us. I'm sure it was an issue for the Charlotte players. In the end, it didn't turn out that way. But man, this game. All right, y'all were the better team the entire game. Y'all looked better. Y'all didn't execute your final touches, and we sold the game for real. I am so annoyed and can't believe the way we lost that friggin' game is my takeaway from it. Clark making a friggin' oopsie mistake coming out and then not even touching, not even fouling, not even nothing, not even trusting Mikel, who's the defender that got beat by your substitute. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. And then Mikel, literally 30 seconds later, after the kickoff, just plays one back to Clark, and it's a friggin' own goal. It's just so frustrating, especially after the start. I think it was the 11th minute that our non-existent striker Baird scored the goal and put us up 1-0. We were excited. The supporter section was packed. Everybody was having a great time. Granted, there was only 9,200 people there in the entire stadium, but the supporter section looked great. We were cheering, we were making noise, the instruments were going, we were having a good time. And then and then the sirens
Yeah,
go.
section
Typical Dynamo.
108. Yeah, section 108 where I was at, it was full, man. We were having a good time. I got on the jumbotron dancing. It was fun. And
Nice.
the Messi haters say that the whole thing is rigged for him, but it might be rigged for Charlotte, man. We just gave y'all the game in 1 minute, dude.
Yeah, I was
I'm
glad to see
telling
that
you.
wire transfer cleared through and Mikel got the money.
And I didn't get a cut. I won 1%, dude. I'll
Bitcoin.
take
It's on
1%.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, there we go.
um,
My number is 12345. Y'all send it.
yeah, there we go.
No, OSG, I agree with you. I thought Charlotte, for the most part, dominated. Well, I don't want to say dominated, but we had like a very strong attack. We just couldn't seem to like finish in the third or just capitalize on some of the early Houston mistakes that were made. Um, but to kind of highlight on some positives for Houston, I mean, in the
Speed.
midfield and in the attack and third, you guys were passing that ball around like it was effortless. Like I
Hmm.
wish our guys could do that. Like
Yeah.
and just get open and like know to look for each other and just trust on each other to be there. Um I mean honestly, you guys could have had way more goals in the first half than you did overall. I'm glad it didn't go that way, but in the first half, especially, you guys looked strong when you had the ball. Whereas in comparison to like our midfield, it's like we were trying some long passes that were unnecessary, um, and we just kept missing, or your goalie kept stopping him too. He had some good blocks. So don't beat yourself up too bad over that. But I was going to ask you, and I'm glad you brought this up. Thoughts on the fan attendance for this cup versus MLS seems to be, more people show up to MLS matches than they do the cup. You think it's just because like this is a brand new cup and fans don't really care too much for it? They don't emphasize importance on it, or they're just maybe they don't. Maybe it's what is it? The season ticket holders mostly showing up.
Well, there was several factors. One, you just mentioned season ticket holders, so we all had to pay for our tickets to go to the game. One, it was 8:30, so it makes it late on a Monday night when everybody has to work on Tuesday morning. And then I already forgot the third mention. Sorry, we're doing 12. We were averaging 12, 11 and a half, 12 for MLS, and this one was 91. So why we lost like maybe 2,000 people to show up to this game? I don't know what the real reason was. We don't pull attendance to begin with. I mean, once this recording's on a Tuesday night. Turn on the TV and see who's at Shell tonight and see how many fans are there tonight. It's our marketing sucks. We don't at the Dynamo do not market to the city and don't put the effort in to grab fans and pull fans. You have two great Mexican teams playing tonight at the same stadium, and there's going to be probably 20,000 people there and 22,000. If it's not, I think it is sold out, if I'm not mistaken. So ridiculous amount of numbers, but we can't draw these people in to come watch the Dynamo. Of course, there's a lot of history with the Dynamo the past 2 years, and we just have been horrible and terrible, and it's hard to pull people. At the same time, you're not marketing, so we just got to wait till we start getting back to the winning ways, and people will start showing back up and getting back to the old Robertson ways, which was the original stadium we played in when we joined the league. Of course, won the titles to start off first. The attendance didn't drop till later off. We went back to the cup in 11 and 12. And we lost to Galaxy. We lost to friggin' Beckham when he was with friggin' Galaxy. It's just right now nobody is interested in the Dynamo besides the True Bloods, i.e. me, i.e. Herman is a True Blood. Just those that want to go to the games and just want to pay attention to the team as much as possible, no matter what, win, lose, or draw. I'm there for them. And like I've said before, I drive the 2.5 hours to Houston every time there's a home game. I went extra early this weekend and went to the Dynados game on Sunday, and then stayed for the Dynamo game on Monday. Man, I'm a true baller, and I'll quote Herman: "The team don't deserve me, but I, I deserve them."
Well, I think you hit two good points there. Whereas, like, I think Charlotte, eh, on average, we hit at least 32,000. And this past Leagues Cup where we played Necaxa, we were at maybe 29.
Yeah, I think like
So
29 and a half, something like that.
yeah, we definitely saw the decrease. And we also think it's just one season ticket holders, and then two, it's a brand new tournament, not a lot of eyes on it, no history behind it. We don't know if it's coming back. Hopefully, it's coming back. And then two, it was just, well, ours was on Saturday, so that helped out. But yeah, it's been on random kind of days, whereas opposed to, like, we're used to just Saturday matches. Um, so and that hopefully that brings me up to my second question was, um, do you think this cup, and Hermione, feel free to jump in and answer this, but do you think this timeline for this cup is like too constricted, too just like out of the blue? I mean, we knew it was coming, but it's like it's a lot of soccer in a very short amount of time. Do you think that timeline works for this cup, or should we like spread it out? If we do it again next year, should we spread it out like we do the Open Cup?
Yeah, that's man, they need to figure something out because I'm a fan of the cup. I love it, but it is too, like you said, it's very
It's too
uh
condensed, right?
condensed. Yes, that is the perfect word. We being MLS teams, we do need to travel to Mexico to make it fair. I think there's room for improvement. Every time you do something for the first time, you're not going to get it perfect right off the bat. I think there's ways to improve this cup, but it's a new tournament, yes. But back when we were starting off as Dynamo, there was a tournament similar to this. Okay, it was called the Superliga, and that's where we played it every summer. It was like 8 teams. I don't know how they got invited, and we would always play Pachuca from Liga MX. And those were some intense games, dude. I mean, it was the Pachuca that had Calero, El Chaco Jimenez, the senior, the dad. It was Mosquera, the center back. Like it was legit prime Pachuca, and the Dynamo back in our glory days were going at it, with a Liga MX team. It was good soccer, man. Like me personally, I'm entertained by the matches. It's just too condensed, man, and they need to make it fair to where we travel over there. And you talked about 29, 32. Like Jesus, man, we dream about those type of numbers over here. Wait till you get a big Mexico team go play at Charlotte. Those numbers are gonna skyrocket, dude.
Yeah. And it's sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but we did kind of see that too. Maybe not those numbers, but when we played Cruz Azul in Dallas, due to scheduling conflicts with the Bank of America Stadium. But it was basically, I mean, and it has been since we went on the road. But it was like an away game for Charlotte. It was nothing. I don't want to say that Charlotte fans didn't show up, but it was like nothing but Cruz Azul um, supporters.
It's a
Yeah,
money grab. It's a money grab. Part of this.
and it's unfortunate y'all can't host a friggin' game either. Like that y'all have the conflicts, even though the tournament was planned out. I don't know if it was Taylor Swift. Now you're not going to push Taylor Swift out the stadium.
It was the
Uh,
Beyonce, the
yeah,
queen
nobody cares
herself.
about Beyonce. We didn't even
We
know. Well, I take it back.
You knew, you were there.
Yeah. One question about Hermana, you said Houston already has some history going up against Liga MX teams. You just mentioned. How have the results across this tournament gone the way you thought, or have some Liga MX teams underperformed, or what are your thoughts on the kind of interleague competition been so far between the two different leagues?
Oh yeah, Liga MX teams for sure have underperformed, but also I just don't understand the seeding of this tournament.
Yeah, that
uh,
did feel a bit like just figure out the top seeds and then just go from there.
right. So I think we like I said, there's improvements to be done, right? Like you can make it based on uh, the previous season standings, which I think they did. I could be wrong. I don't
Well,
want to quote that.
that's exactly what they did. All the
Yeah.
games were in the MLS, so they based it off of last season's MLS supporter shield standings, and that's how they determined who was going to host and where they were going to host. Unfortunately for Charlotte, y'all couldn't host, so y'all had to go to whoever was next, and it's since they're all technically neutral sites because of Leagues Cup, unfortunately y'all came to Houston instead of going to whatever would have been closer to the Charlotte area. Because I
Mhm.
believe
Oh
y'all were
yeah.
still a higher seed last season. Y'all still should have. I mean, I don't know. Leagues Cup took control of this. They like Herman said, they got some work to do to figure this out. And who knows if League Cup's going to exist next year with the talk about Libertards coming in and
Oh yeah.
doing a tournament.
Libertadores. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it's gonna be crazy because we can only play so many frigging games. And then to go back what y'all said earlier, Open Cup is a single elimination tournament round to round, so you can push it through the entire season. They're doing Leagues Cup as a World Cup kind of style, so it's kind of harder to do it that way. I think it's still feasible and possible. Yeah, man. Then logistics. You have a Saturday game in Charlotte, and or Houston, and then you're gonna travel to Mexico to play Pachuca or Cruz Azul, and then you got to return back to Saturday to play another MLS team, no matter where that's at. It's just, I think that was where logistics came in, and they didn't want to waste the money.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't see
so
why they
it,
don't
it,
try to model it off of like the UEFA Champions League. Um, and you can
Mm-hmm.
do the home and away knockout stages and stretch it out
Yes.
even more. And that kind of makes it a little bit easier to justify the travel between, like you said, if you go in Houston and you need to go to Mexico, or if you're in Charlotte and you need to go to Mexico, like at least you're going to have another home game also to try to profit off of. And it just gives you more matches to play. But I think if they were to do something like that, it's got to be alongside roster rules changing and allowing for more slots, more money to be spent. A fourth DP slot would be good. Things like that, just because the depth of MLS squads just isn't there from a numbers count, like the actual number of people on a team. I just don't feel like it's sufficient enough to support adding in a third season long tournament the same way that some of the top teams in Europe do. I mean,
And
like,
the other thing about neutral sites, it was so weird seeing like when y'all scored yesterday, our stadium played like Charlotte. Like I'm assuming they played the song they play at your stadium when y'all score. I was like, what the fuck is that? Caught me by surprise.
What song was it? I forget. Was it the Pepitas or? Because I
it's
heard
whatever.
It
some
might.
Charlotte chants, but I was like, "There's no way there's that many people there for Charlotte." Because like I could hear it through the TV. I'm like, "There's no way." I mean, and also it sounded like the stadium must have been y'all supporters, but it sounded like that stadium coming through the TV sounded like it was packed. But when I
yeah,
look at the screen, I'm like, things like halfway empty. I'm like, how loud are these
Oh,
guys?
I do want to clarify this, okay? I know we only, like OSG said, we only had like 9,000 people, but I do want to clarify this. The middle section on the TV that probably most people see, okay? That is a luxury seat now. Now they upgraded the stadium. They took out like the three most middle sections and they made them into one big club area where it's like all you can eat food and it's AC inside. You can watch the game from inside, and then you can come outside if you want to sit in your seat. So
They
it's like a
Americanized
luxury.
it.
Yeah. So it's expensive, and it's also tempting to stay inside the AC if you're the person that can afford that type of ticket. And what happens on the
Free
TV?
beer,
It
free
looks
food.
freaking, yeah, free beer, free food, and it looks empty as heck, and it pisses me off.
Yeah, I would get mad too. I mean,
They need to throw a camera inside there and show the party inside.
or
Show
put
the
some
party.
like dummies on those seats so that it at least looks filled.
I
The,
still
the,
want to go. I still want to go and experience it. I have not yet gone to experience it, but I will.
you pay
Nice.
for it. I'm going with you. But
Once you
the,
go,
Yeah,
there's no coming
for
back.
sure.
yeah, also let y'all know, like they do put the microphone next to the supporter section at the same time too. So like
Okay.
what you're hearing over the broadcast is coming from that area. Like I said last night, the supporter section was pretty full, if not almost full. And so that's what you're hearing when you're hearing it through the broadcast. And when you looked across to the other side, where like if we were like selling Charlotte tickets, it didn't. There was a lot of people sitting in one corner, and I really couldn't tell from the distance if they were Charlotte supporters or not. And I'm sure there's a microphone on that side too to include to increase the noise, and that's what Apple's been doing at the same time. They're increasing noise coverage for the broadcast at the same time.
Interesting.
Okay, well that's good to know. That kind of clears things up there.
To jump back into the match, I'm kind of surprised you said, Charlotte were the better team and the better team all night. I felt like it was a pretty back and forth game where we looked good for 5 to 10 minutes at a time, and I kind of felt like you guys looked a bit better, especially your midfield. Pablo kind of mentioned it, the way you guys were able to just move the ball quickly around our attacking third. I mean, just wanted to give a shout out to Amin Bassi, obviously Hector Herrera, and Griffin Dorsey. Those three guys were just pinging the ball around. Griffin Dorsey, some of those runs he was making, my gosh, like just flashbacks
Bassi
of
too.
Ashley Cole, flashbacks of prime Jordi Alba. Man, that guy
And
can dribble.
And then
he can
Bassi, I mean, like
dribble.
he would dart. That dude is so fast. I couldn't believe that he could just move through space so quickly and not capitalize on some of the balls that were or just the runs he was making. I was like,
Oh
they
yeah,
can't keep up with him. It's not that they can't
yeah.
mark him; they just can't keep up with him.
And would you believe me if I told you that Dorsey is not our set in stone right back?
That was I heard that on the broadcast. He had only had 2 league starts. I was like, wow, that's definitely going to change. I mean, it has to change after that performance. That guy was a game changer. I mean, every time he made that diagonal cut inside, it was just he was taking out 3 or 4 Charlotte players just with his dribble, and then the vision he has too was phenomenal. And then
Yeah,
also shout out to Nelson Quinones. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. My Hispanic pronunciation is awful, but
Yeah,
shout out
Quiñones,
to
Quiñones.
him. Fellow Colombian got the assist. I believe that was him that lined it up. But good hold up play by
yeah.
him as well. And
It
again, good
was.
vision.
Yeah, it was. It was Nelson Quiñones. I told OSG earlier today we talked. I, I, that play, analyzing the play where we scored, I thought we had a through ball down the middle before they sent the through ball out wide to Quiñones. I was sitting on that end of the stadium, in the where we were scoring at in the first half, and I could see a gap between your two center backs, and I thought they were going to send them through right down the middle, but they decided to play out wide to Quinones, which I thought slowed down the play, but no. Beautiful lob cross to our boy Baird, and he buried it. So it was a good start for us. In terms of the game, I agree. I agree, man. I thought we dominated, but I look at the halftime board and it says Charlotte had 10 shots. I'm like, what in the world? But then I saw it and I thought about it. We started good. We started pressing, we dominated to start the game. We were looking good. After that first water break, I feel like we ran out of gas. And then Charlotte, to end the first half, is just bombardment. It's like they're trying to attack. They're trying to attack. And I felt like we got lucky we didn't get scored on at halftime. So we started real good. I felt like we dominated. We had control of the game. After that first water break, after all that pressing and hustling, we got tired. And that's when Charlotte started, creeping in, creeping in, creeping in. That's how I saw the first half. So I agree with you, man. I didn't feel like Charlotte like dominated me, but it's just like slowly. And then, and OSG can chime in. Like it's no secret. I I'm Latino, Latinx, whatever. I'm not trying to discriminate against anybody. In my blood is I like to attack. And the current philosophy of the coaching staff, trying to say politically correct, is to essentially park the bus, And I'm a believer that when you do that, you're gonna get scored on eventually, And I'd rather us go look for the second goal than to tie and win in PKs.
Are you sure you're not a Charlotte FC fan? I'm hearing a lot of similar issues that every Charlotte FC fan has had this season as well, with the park the bus mentality. I mean, I can't tell you how many
God, I
games
hate
we've
it,
given
bro.
away because of that.
We went through a streak towards the end of, what was it, May, where we had nothing but ties through the whole month of June and July. And we would, either score and just, like you said, just park the bus, and then the teams would just come back and tie it up. And it could be like a 1-0 or 2-0 lead we would have, and we just give it up. I'm telling you, it was just tie, all for like 2 months almost.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was crazy.
Ties ain't gonna get us into the playoffs, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just so frustrating because last night, for example, we get scored on, which was holy crap. I mean, that striker bullied that defender, dude. And then we concede the second goal, right? We pass it into our own net. And then immediately after that, we create a legit goal scoring opportunity. Like it was legit. I thought we were about to tie it up, And I think Aliju missed it. Like it rolled right next to the post.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, where was this 20 minutes ago?
Yes.
Why do we have to wait to get scored on for us to attack?
Yep.
And it's so frustrating, man. It's so frustrating, bro.
Yeah, Ben Olsen and Latanzio must have gone to the same school of managing, because you're saying a lot of stuff we have said about Charlotte the last couple of months. Even just that whole thing of like we play our best the last like 5 minutes when we're down a goal or tied, and it's like, why couldn't you do this the whole match? It's just funny to hear that.
And just to finish the venting, and since you got me started and riled up,
keep on.
Coco, like OSG said, Coco Carrasquilla, he won the Gold Cup's best player, And those of us who love the game know that it's not just all about goals and assists, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was the engine for Panama in that Gold Cup. And I have a lot of people who don't watch the Dynamo who watched it last night, or this Leagues Cup. This Leagues Cup has actually brought a lot of casuals, Half of my family members ask me about the Leagues Cup, the Dynamo. They don't keep up with the Dynamo, friends and family, And they ask me, hey, man, why isn't Coco shining like he did in Panama? And it's because of the damn defensive tactics, They use them differently in Houston versus how they do in Panama.
Yeah.
It's just you are preventing players from reaching their ceiling because of your tactics.
Yeah, it's all down to the tactics.
Yes, bro. It's infuriating. It's frustrating. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity to vent. I thought it was a back and forth game last night. I thought it was a good game. I was scared they were going to tie 1-1. I like OSG said, our goalie is good. He makes good saves. He actually made a save from, I forget the guy's name.
Vargas.
I had him. He was okay. Yes,
the
Colombian guy with the ponytail, right?
Yeah, with
okay.
the cross. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
I thought that was going in, man.
Yes, the whole section, we were like, no, and we were like, oh, he saved it, like that was and I don't know how to say it in English, but gol cantado, that was, you know what I'm saying?
Premature.
He's a good goalie, but he just made that, and like OSG said to me earlier today, he made that one mistake, and that's what everybody's gonna remember now.
Yeah.
coming out and giving your striker that open net once he shrugged off Mikael, our defender. And then it's the go ahead.
Does it say? I felt like last night was. The story might go, or this might maybe not be a popular takeaway from the match, but I did feel like it actually came down to the goalies. Because earlier, was it in the first half or second half, Kalina had a similar situation with Amin Bassi, and he was able to get ahead on it and then draw the foul, and then he made a similar kind of goal line save from a corner kick late in the second half, from I believe it was Aliu, where he also kind of like chested it, and Kalina just got a goal line save to
Oh,
it, and
yeah,
it
you're
was
talking about
like,
the.
and
Sorry, go ahead.
no, as I say, and again, like Steve Clark had some big saves, especially that one against Vargas, and it was like, man, it kind of just felt like he just made one more mistake than Kalina did, and that was the match, and it just goes to exemplify the pressure that these keepers are under, and just like how I guess how little rewarding the game can be for keepers, and how you do kind of have to be a bit of a psycho to be a keeper, because besides that one mistake that led to the own goal, or even the first goal, like Steve Clark was having an amazing game, and I thought he and Kalina had a good battle of just like keeping both teams in it. I thought there was a couple saves Kalina had that kept us in the game that maybe you guys should have scored of, and same on the other side. Like Clark made some big saves that maybe normally he should make, or that we could have scored off of, and just I feel like that story might get away a little bit of just like how good of a game both guys did have. So yeah, just wanted to throw that in there.
No,
No,
right, you're
yeah,
right. The
go
keepers,
ahead.
man, they both had they both had excellent games, and like Herman said, like the one that's going to stand out is the huge mistake Clark made to give up the first goal, and in the second one, people thought that Clark could have done something to touch that ball, intercept that ball, and give y'all the indirect free kick right there. I didn't see it because if I thought he could, he would have done it, or maybe he thought it was going out and he didn't reach for it or whatever. It just a huge mistake on the first one, and then just a monumental mistake on McKell, especially passing the ball like that. You damn well know better. Don't pass it back to the center of the friggin' field. Like, come on, that's number one. But we hired a defensive coordinator for coach, and he like a football defensive coordinator. He likes to play defense and thinks defenses win championships. And a lot of people do, and that's what he wants to do. And number one, great for Baird scoring the goal at the 11th minute or whatever minute it was. That's not the guy we want starting at friggin' striker. We want to leave you to start, or at least give Thor a chance. Uh, Ben doesn't rotate players, so it's the same friggin' lineup. uh, y'all talked about Dorsey. We don't know if Dorsey's going to get to play August 20th against Portland when MLS starts back up, because he hasn't played all friggin' season. He had one chance. He played great, and then he got right back on the bench, and he hasn't been used ever since. League's Cup, he got used. He's had man of the match all three games that he played. Hopefully, he earned that starting position and keep Escobar on the left. But right now, with the way we're feeling, we don't know with Ben Olsen what he's going to do. We don't trust him right now, and he's taking a lot. He's taking a lot of the blame too at the same time. I.e., the 60th minute, he made substitutions, and we turned to each other and we're like, "These were defensive substitutions. Let's park the bus." It's 1-friggin' nothing, bro. It's 1-0. I saw enough 1-0 that we lost 2-1 last year. I'm sick of them. And then, granted, here we go. We give up 2 goals in a minute, in a span of a minute, which was, of course, 10 minutes after the substitution was made. But man, it's like we keep the pedal on the metal. Well, it wasn't really like the pedal on the metal, but keep attacking and don't give. Charlotte had the possession, had the shots, had the corner kicks, had a lot of the stats in their favor, and I'm not saying like y'all were dominating, but y'all were the better team for the majority of the game. Dynamo had their chances, and of course, we have one of the best midfields in the league in Herrera, Archer, Coco, and Bossi had a decent game last night. It's hard to put up with those guys, and our defense is a solid defense. It's our sorry attacking third that don't know what to do when they get the friggin' ball. And that's credit to y'all. Y'all played well. Y'all played well enough. Your keeper made some excellent saves. We foobarred twice in a row and gave y'all the friggin' game. Steve Clark making the saves that he did to keep us in the game to begin with. So in the end, yes, it was a good game for like a neutral to watch, or even for y'all to watch, and like you're happy. You would have probably been happy with the performance, or happy enough with the performance. I'm not gonna say happy with the performance, 'cause I'm definitely not happy with the performance. It's just the same crap that we're seeing week on and week out. Something needs to change. Something needs to improve. We keep asking for it, and nothing does. He makes one substitution, Dorsey, getting the start, but he doesn't make anything else. So it's just getting annoying over here on this end, especially the 10, 11 years that we've been in the bottom of the barrel. We want to be relevant again, and we need to be relevant again.
Mhm.
Game is too fun to be relevant. We don't want to be bottom of the barrels.
Yeah, especially with you guys having very early success in the MLS. What is it like? You've won it twice, is it?
Oh,
Yes, sir. Back to back.
oh,
Yeah. Uh
yep,
huh.
2 seasons, and
So
then
yeah,
almost six.
you've seen the highs of it, and you just want to get back on top of that mountain. That's understandable. And kind of going back to um, what you said about one of your players that's had a very successful Leagues Cup. Um, who was it? Dorsey. We kind of have similar guys too. Swiderski being our main goal scorer, like he's the one that I honestly thought was gonna tie it up, and then maybe would go to PKs, and we seem to do very well in PKs, especially our goalkeeper Kalina. He's stopped like 3 of them against Cruz Azul,
And 3 against
but
Dallas as well.
and 3 against Dallas. Yeah, so he's very good in those types of situations. But in this game, Soderski didn't perform well at all. He had one cutback pass from Yazviak towards the penalty marker there, shot it right at the keeper. Your keeper, it was just a simple routine save for him. He had another one where it was like, your back line struggled to clear the ball. That thing was bouncing right in front of him. He went for just, an overall power shot and just flopped it. So like it didn't seem to be going his way. They subbed him out, put Ajiman in. He's a young guy, plays sometimes for our second team, the Crown Legacy, the lower division. And he does well there. But in my eyes, Ajiman has not been the guy that like truly performs well to earn him like starts. I think he's still just the talent is there. It's just too raw. Needs to be developed. But he's the one that in this tournament has really excelled. He put away some PKs. He had the tying goal against you guys, and as soon as the match was over, I went on Instagram to do a little trolling, and everyone's like, "Ajiman needs to start over Starsky." Ajiman, everybody's Ajiman, Ajiman, Ajiman. I'm just like, he's not that guy. Like he's not the one that, in my eyes, needs to be starting. Um, but yeah, so we have like very similar issues, whereas like guys that should be performing aren't doing as well, and guys that typically don't are excelling.
And I don't want to make this a Dynamo Rant episode, but you
Too
touched
late.
on something, and I'll do it real quickly. You said, you want to get back to the glory days. Yes, we do. We had a decade that's like for the dark ages. We haven't had a taste of what success feels like. That as a fan base, we're so desperate to get back to that when this bring the nasty or this parking the bus was actually getting results at the start of the season, everybody was buying into it. And I was kind of like one of the people against it because I argued that it was not sustainable long term. And now people are starting to go frustrated and starting to see what's really going on. So something needs to change. And hopefully it changes for both our clubs.
Yeah, I think Charlotte is starting to make that. I will say I feel like Charlotte has played differently in this Leagues Cup than we were playing in the MLS, and Pablo, we joked about it, right? Latanzio was saving all his real tactics for the cup. It does feel like we are playing a bit more attacking, not relying on the back line, just holding on as much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I would still say like, man, the way the Dynamo's midfield was like moving that ball around, like the one touches, the 1-2 combos, the whenever we were starting to load up a certain side and press you guys, you just found like a long diagonal ball out of it. That passing, especially Hector Herrera's passing, like, oh man, like chef's kiss to that. But that is what I wish Charlotte would do a bit more, especially with our midfielders. It's just like quicker 1-2s or combination passes and like just
Quicker
moving the ball a bit.
counterattacks.
Yeah, just move the ball a bit quicker. Like I feel like when we attack, we're just so spread out. Like everyone is 30, 40 yards away from each other. You get into a lot of like isolated 1v1s constantly, especially on the wings, where I feel like it's hard to create chances besides just crossing the ball into the box and hoping for a 50-50 to go our way. I mean, shoot, even the goal we got was, a long ball over the top. We just thankfully we had a big guy up there who got a really good first touch, was able to create some separation and find the back of the net. But
he finally does something.
You're such a hater.
He finally does, dude. Any other game, that guy would have tripped over his own laces.
Whatever, you are a hater. He got good like separation, good first touch. Finish with the weak foot. Like I don't know how you can hate on that.
The striker,
he runs like a baby giraffe, man. He's just wobbly out there. He don't know what to do. He's tripping over himself so many times.
I agree. He has all the physical traits, but the most important one, which is finishing, he don't have it. There was another play before the goal where he used his physicality to get open, and he shot the ball, and it was such a weak shot, dude. Like he did everything right, all the hard part, which is probably why.
I'll push back on that a little bit and say that has to be. I think that comes down more to experience. Like he's a rookie that we drafted from college. Like he's just now getting start. Like this is his first season. And I think that finish that you're talking about has more to do with inexperience than anything, where he couldn't decide whether he wanted to shoot or cut it across the box and ended up just doing a little bit of both. And there's been other moments like that too throughout the season where like it should be like an easy finish and he just kind of messes up one or two little details that you're like, oh, a seasoned guy would like put that in the back of the net. So I think he's like Pablo said, it's a raw talent that needs to be developed, but the guy is a rookie out of college. And, as we're learning about the MLS, like rookies out of college don't even typically have a big impact on teams right away. But I mean, he's had some big games for us. He got us a point against Seattle, got this goal now, doing really well on Crown Legacy. So Pablo's just a bit of a hater on the guy.
Well, you say it's his first season, but you know who else is first season and is doing really well? Messi.
Okay, yeah, I knew you were gonna say that. That's such a troll. I knew that was coming.
No, but listen, going back to the highlights of Houston and their counterattacks and how we kind of wish they would somewhat copy that format. It's like going back to that first goal, whenever you guys counterattack, it goes real quick from 3 guys on the counter to 6 guys, whereas like when we counter, it's like 2, maybe 3 guys running, and everybody else is just like jogging behind. And it's just like I wish these guys would play with a little more, like a little more oomph behind their attack. It's not there yet. And in comparison to like some of these Liga MX teams, I'm like, or even what you said, Herman, the Panama team, just being Spanish, I think it's like, yes, it is attack. But we did see that a bit in the second half where like even Privet, one of our center backs, was up more joining the attack. And I think that's where you saw a lot more of the pressure coming from Charlotte. And I think there was some sort of like tactic change there. Not so much formation, but I would say just tactics when we have the ball and when we don't have the ball.
Yeah. There was one play where we were able to beat that press in the second half. And I think it was Dorsey linking up with Quiñones, I'm pretty sure. It was like a give and go near the corner flag where you guys are attacking us. They were able to link up, escape the press, and start the counter. And it's just like every other counter that the Dynamo have. Yes, you're right. We do a great job of getting numbers forward and going forward on a counterattack. But the last touch, the most important touch, we can never finish it, man. We always make the wrong decision on the pass, or the pass isn't executed properly. When we do make the right pass, I remember in the first half, Coco was set up nicely. He shot it, but your defender got in the way. It's like unlucky stuff. But I remember that play vividly because in front of me, it was this dad, I would say, what, 45, 50-year-old dad, brought out his 4 kids. And that one play, it was beautiful. It's beautiful. The sport is beautiful when everybody shares the ball and touches it. And this dude got out of his seat, dude. He got hyped. He thought we were gonna score, and then we blow the chance. But the buildup was so beautiful. It's just the final touch is what this team is lacking.
Yeah, again, just similar to what Charlotte is going through, even with some of our star strikers like Kopetti and Swiderski. Sometimes they just seem to not be putting on those goal-scoring boots, and just not doing too well when it comes to that last touch. I mean, I would say Charlotte's problem is even one step further back, and just having the, I don't know if it's like the courage or the guts to like make that risky pass to break a defensive line, or to put someone in that position to try to make that final touch in. And it's almost like our build-up play is just a bit too slow to even talk about that. But interesting to see how similar the teams are.
Yeah, they seem to like knock it around until there's a clear path in front of them to goal, where it's just like some of the times, they're knocking that ball around and around the box or close to the box, and I'm just like, just shoot the ball already. Like, you've had so many chances.
Yeah, the funny thing you mentioned about, like, that kind of Hispanic heritage of like trying to play more aggressive football, be a bit more attacking. I feel like it really sticks out when Vargas plays, at least for Charlotte. Like, he is one of the few wingers that will like take a guy one-on-one or shoot the ball from distance. I don't know how well it reflects for him in the coach's eyes, but anytime he's in the lineup, I know we're at least going to see a couple step overs, a good 1v1, or a distant shot, that is going to get on goal. So it is funny that that seems to be kind of a relevant theme for pretty much every Hispanic that plays the game.
Well, I think going from the Open Cup and where Houston's at and the MLS standings, you guys are sitting somewhat comfortably at the number 9th spot in your conference. Still somewhat in the playoffs, and then you're very close to the finals and the U.S. Open Cup. So, 2 chances there to grab some silverware before the season ends. How do you guys feel as far as bringing it home?
Actually, I'll let OSG, because he's been quiet. I'll let OSG go.
Look, let's not kid ourselves on the MLS standings. Yeah, we're in 9th, and there might be a chance we make the playoffs, but we're definitely not contenders, and we're not calling ourselves contenders. We're nowhere close to that at the same time. We've got a lot of work to do to even pretend to try to contend for MLS Cup. But as far as the Open Cup goes, that's a different story. That's a one-off game every time you play each other, and it's a different story every game. We're hosting RSL at home for the semifinals. Granted, RSL has made some great improvements in this friggin' window, and they're playing very well. It's gonna be an intense game, and it's we're not playing like it's hell in the shell anymore, like we did start in the season, where I think it was the first 11 games. We won 110 and we lost one, or maybe it wasn't probably not that many games, but we were unbeaten and wouldn't lose at home. And now here we are. The history is coming back into play, where we're not performing well once the back end of summer hits, and the team starts to fall back off, and then they fall down in the standings. So we're going to go out. We're going to play every bit as hard as we can against RSL, and we're gonna give every bit of effort. It's a friggin' Wednesday night game, so again, attendance will be, not that great because, like I said about marketing, they're not marketing anything about this game. They sent an email out saying, here's the game. They put it on Instagram once, maybe twice. So there's no billboards across the city. I can tell you that because I just drove halfway through across the city, driving back home today. It's not on the media outlets. There's no effort. There's no effort. It's just piss poor. It's like we're the fourth major team in the city, and they're showing it. Everybody's showing it. They don't. Nobody. I mean, the city doesn't. You have the Astros. We're literally right across the street from the Astros, sharing the same parking lots. The Rockets are 4 blocks away. You can walk to the Rockets from Dynamo. You can walk to the Rockets from the Astros. It's a 10-minute ride a train ride from Dynamo to get to the Texans. Everything's right there and close, man. And just people forget about us. I mean, there was somebody posted a tweet the other day talking about how the Dynamo, or not the Dynamo, the Texans, the Astros, and the Rockets are doing this and that. Like I responded back immediately to her, and she was like, Houston station, news station. They're like, you forgot about Houston, and we're going for 3 trophies right now. Nobody else is doing that.
Yeah.
Astros can win a World Series. That's one friggin' trophy. Like, where's
Yeah.
it actually some kind of love? So not only is the Dynamo not marketing, but the city's not marketing at the same time and just trying to push people down there, which you think it would help the economy. I mean, we have the Gold Cup coming to Houston. We have the World Cup coming to Houston in the next year, in the next 2 years. Like, why can't we do it for our own team based here? And we have the Houston Dash as well on the WSL side. And attendance is a joke for that. No marketing. And that's a female team that can get to the female database. Like, get the people to the friggin' stadium, man. I can drive 2.5 hours, yet they can drive 15 to 20 minutes to the friggin' stadium. Sick of it.
And for context, to add on to OSG's point, Gold Cup was this summer. Houston hosted 3 games. Mexico, Honduras in NRG Stadium where the Texans play. That wasn't sold out, but it was, I believe it was 70,000 people. And
That's
then,
pretty good.
oh yeah, close to a sellout. And then uh,
3,000.
it was Guatemala versus I forgot who sold out in where we play, and then it was El Salvador, Panama, where we play at Shell Energy Stadium, sold out as well. So there is a soccer market in Houston. It's just OSG's point is 100% on the mark. There is no marketing from the Dynamo. Um, there's no support from the front office. Like our podcast, we do it because we love the team, just like you. Same reason y'all do it, you know. And you would think that the front office would recognize that we're essentially helping them out with marketing, and they would support us and whatnot. But it's the complete opposite. And
They're
it's
trying to shut you
funny,
down.
yeah, they did. But that's a story for off the air,
Oh, they
all
did.
that good stuff. Yeah,
Jeez.
uh,
Meteor
and
meteor requests were denied. Let's just long story short, meteor requests were denied.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and then I'm actually I really believe it's a person that works for the marketing team that actually cares, that created a burner account. um, he's actually trying to gather a list of marketing ideas and give it to the front office, and I responded to his tweet and he liked what I said, so we started messaging back and forth, and we're actually going to hop on a call and work together on a document that we'll send to the front office marketing team to give them ideas on what to do. We're basically doing their job for them, dude. Like, there's no
From
effort, there's no care in the world. It's so depressed to watch, man. It's so sad.
that's Chapito.
It's
Well, on a side
Chapito.
note, there, I was gonna say
Nah,
Apple stole our name, and they're doing their own offside podcast. So
no,
we'll be
no.
sending our. They'll be hearing from our lawyer.
That's what I'm talking about. Do that ass.
But
Yeah.
you guys make very valid points. As going to the marketing department, not putting enough stress on how well Houston is doing. Because from an outside looking in, like I see that. I mainly just keep up with Houston because of the relationship, friendship type of deal that we kind of have with you guys, and I like to keep up with how you're doing. I still remember the first episode we did with you guys and how kind of bummer of a season you were having. Like we said earlier, you've had the early success, but going back from I guess last season to this season, and from an outside looking in, you guys seem to have a very good season so far. In comparison to last season, last season you were almost dead last. Open Cup was not even a thought, and now it's like, you're one match away from the Open Cup, and once you playoffs, it's all bets are off. Like, and that's another thing I like about the MLS and somewhat the cap rules. It's like any team can beat any other team any day, because there is some sort of limitations. It does somewhat keep it fair and square. But yeah, I just think I think you guys are, especially Houston, from comparison to last season, you guys are rocking it, man. So I'm rooting for them, especially in the Open Cup.
I will say this: OSG hit it on the dot. Like, we're not contenders in the MLS playoffs, like we are right now. But our style of play does do well in a knockout style tournament. So who knows what we'll do in the Open Cup? But what I hate is it's fool's gold, man. The results are fool's gold, and then the front office is proudly boasting it. That's what I freaking hate. Let me ask you this: who are your three DPs, and what positions do they play?
Well, that's a tricky question. We got Enzo Capetti plays striker, and then we've got Karol
Plays bench.
Swiderski. Yeah, right now he's playing the bench. Well, he's injured, but he needs to stay on the bench. We've looked a lot better without him. And we've got Karol Swiderski, who also plays striker, but at the beginning of the season, it was like, where does he fit in? Because Capetti plays striker, and we spent all this money on him. But now with Capetti injured and hopefully bench the rest of the season, he's also playing striker. And then we've got Kamil Yazbiak, who is a DP on paper only. The guy gets injured a bit too often and takes a little bit too long to find form. But he plays on that right wing, opposite of Vargas. But
Okay, so you're just like us. You're wasting your DP spots, basically.
yeah, I would say 2 out of 3 have been a waste.
Yeah, same with us. And the one that hasn't has been Ache Ache. So it's just, yes, we made some signings, a new coach. They made instant results at the beginning of the season, but now we're starting to see the true colors. And OSG and I feel like the magic is fading.
You guys just freed up a DP spot, though, right? By letting
No,
that...
sir.
No? Okay,
No,
I thought the
sir.
striker you guys let go as a DP.
He was
Explain
alone.
why, OSG. Explain why.
Yeah, exactly. He was alone in the cell. So as a loan, we still hold the DP spot.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah. So it's a loan till the winter with an option to buy. So we're hoping, just because we know Ben Olsen isn't going to use the guy as a striker for us, we're hoping Vasco likes him and keeps him and buys him and then gets him off our books. Because it's a loan and MLS rules, the DP is still under our roster regulations. So we're
Gotcha.
stuck with that DP. Our other DP in Teenage Heavy had a broken foot and is back to practicing by himself. He's not back to physical contact yet, so he's got 2 weeks to do that before our next MLS game. And then of course Ache, which is it's been something special. But he can only carry the team so far.
Man, I could watch that guy hit long balls all day.
Oh yeah, his switching the field is great.
Yeah.
His technical dribbling ability, like he doesn't let you take the ball from him. He will defend it and protect it at all costs, and no one ever takes the ball from him. You got to force a bad pass on how to Giace, and that's what you like to see, especially out of a 36-year-old or however old he is now.
his free kick, I think it was in the second half as well, where a lot of people thought he was gonna go for it, or maybe go for the far post or something, and he just kind of chipped it over
Floated
the
it.
wall and just floated in. I was like, man, that just having that like extra tools in your toolbox, like that range of passing, is just so underrated at times. Like, when
He's class, but people want him to be like a 10. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
he's not a
Yeah.
10. He's not a
Yeah.
10.
He's
But
like a
he's
He's a
six,
class,
right?
bro.
distributor. Yeah, he's a distributor.
Right.
I was
They
He's
want
actually
very
him to be
good
really
that
at it.
surprised.
playmaker.
Sorry, go ahead. Repeat that.
No, go ahead.
I was really surprised when I saw the lineups, and we were just talking about the Coco kind of being used a bit differently. I'm kind of surprised he doesn't play alongside Herrera more. So that's kind of where I felt like he was going to be in the lineup. I didn't expect him to see him so wide out in the field.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, and you're welcome.
Took you one game.
It's good Ben Olsen style, bro.
Yeah, I just kept seeing him really far out wide. I was like, huh, that's a lot different than what Panama is doing. And I mean, he just gets so isolated, and I mean, he's got
Thank
nowhere to
you.
run. And you take out a lot of his defensive ability as well. I mean, that guy can shut down a play pretty quickly.
We just run the wrong formation. We're still stuck with this four. It's a lot of time it's a 4-1-4-1, and they call it a 4-2-3-1. But Archer's by himself. He doesn't have a backup mate. Ache plays more in the middle of the field and just goes box to box. He doesn't get too deep. He doesn't come back too deep. And then they put Coco out wide because they're using Bossy as like a 10. So like we don't have a right wing over there. That right wing is pinching in and playing towards the central midfield, and then you have Quinones on the left side playing out very wing. So it's an awkward odd tactics situation that we're using over here, and it's we can say it's not working because it's working, but it's just different. And attacking wise, we're not doing too well defensively. Like I said, we hired a defensive coordinator, so we can defend all day, but we're not going to threaten you at all from the goal. We'll have chances, we'll have opportunities, but nothing to where Houston's a dangerous team right now. We just need that to change. I think Ben Olsen is so reluctant on trying to make those changes and just put forth effort. Like I mentioned, I don't even remember where I mentioned it. I was like, we defend so well already. Quit defending, quit coaching defense, and let's just attack and let's see what happens. Because their defense is already so good. Let them play their game. Oh, I said it when I was talking about the Dash. Because the Dash are in a very similar situation. They're very great defensively, leading the league and keeping the ball out the goal, but they can't score. They're last in the league in scoring. So it's the same situation with so much talent on the team too, especially on the women's team. They should be so much better. And here we are on the Dynamo side. Jesus Christ, it's the same freaking thing almost.
Charlotte fans, if you made it this far, thank you so much for letting us vent. We wish you the
Absolutely.
best of luck in the next round.
We appreciate it. We definitely appreciate it. Yeah, I think that's any other final takeaways from anyone. Or if not, we can go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. I think it's been going on a little longer than normal, but it's been good discussions. Hopefully, everyone is entertained by the episode. I know I have been. I mean, it's just so funny to hear how similar the two teams are and kind of going through a lot of the same issues right now. And I mean, even in the table standings of our conference, we're in similar positions, just fighting for that last playoff spot. You guys doing a lot better job of it than we are.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
three points I like to make. Like Herman said, shout out to your fans who are gonna listen this far into the show and put up with what we vented like it's a friggin' Houston show. Thank y'all for listening and support your guys right here that are just putting out good content and selling your team at the same time. Uh, as far as the Eastern Conference goes, man, it's Charlotte and it's Montreal that I like to follow in the Eastern Conference, and it's because of the relationships that we forged doing the podcast with other opponents, and we had fun with Montreal. This is what I think our third time with y'all now. we've had so much fun with y'all, and it's becoming a regular thing, and it needs, and hopefully it's going to continue, which I expect it to, and it needs, it's going to continue, and just having fun in this, and just bringing information to the fans and content to the fans, and hopefully a good episode to the fans.
I think it will be. And like Andres, like you said, it's fun and interesting to hear the similarities that one team has from the other that are not even in the same conference. The struggles that we go through are just so what applies to y'all applies to us. But I did want to give one shout out to a fan, Daniel Vinas, and he's kind of like he's kind of odd quirk there out there. He's a Houston guy, but he's a Charlotte fan, and he lives in Charlotte now. So I don't want to say he's like we kind of nabbed one from you guys, but I guess he saw more potential in Charlotte. So shout out to Daniel. Appreciate you, man.
Hey,
The
we don't
economy's
play.
popping over there, dude.
Yeah, shout out to him. He might have made the better choice right now.
Hey, there's more room if you guys want to make the drive or the flight.
No, well, I was gonna say, like, we'll come out to a game in Charlotte. That's for damn sure. But I was gonna tell, shout out to that guy that you just mentioned. Like, he lives in Charlotte, and you wanna take precedent in the city that you live in. Like, we're Houston, so we take precedent with Houston, and we've got other teams we like and we enjoy to follow, i.e. Charlotte. So, I'm having fun, especially it was good to see Derek Jones when he was warming up. He warmed, of course, y'all warm up right next to the supporters groups. Like, there's Derek. Of course, he couldn't hear us because there's too much noise going on. But man, we still miss the guy. We still appreciate him, and say there's no hate towards Charlotte coming from Houston on any.
Yeah, Jones has
Good.
had a good breakout season. He's coming back from a little bit of an injury, so he hasn't been used that much in the League's Cup. But I mean, before that, he was our star defensive midfielder, and then was even starting to play some center back with all the injuries we've been having at that position. So he's just been a top guy to have on the team. One of my favorite players on the team. And honestly, pretty underrated by the fan base at times. I think a lot of people don't see some of the talent he has, and I think he just makes it look too easy at times, and that can go underappreciated.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you see him starting in this next game versus Miami, just because Byrne did get that double yellow. Now, like our left back position is exposed again, so they're gonna have to shuffle some things around. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if you see him starting in the center back position again.
Yeah, agree.
Stop Messi, stop Messi, and enter Miami.
Yeah. There's 10 other guys on that team that might have to worry about as well, but there's definitely one guy to focus on. But hey, you know what? The games that we have absolutely no business of winning so far this season, we've been able to get results out of. So hopefully this will be a similar story. Although I will say, if there's a suspicious call in the late second half, right outside of a Charlotte box, or a late PK call, I think we can all go ahead and agree that it is rigged.
Yeah, start
If
writing your congressman.
if you don't, for some reason, stop Messi, just admire the greatness, dude. It's one of the GOATs. You're going to tell your grandchildren that you saw him play against your team, dude.
I
Be
admired him in the
grateful.
World Cup, and I've seen him in person once 6 years ago. I'm over it already.
So I'm at the Publix.
I saw him in Miami when he was still at Barcelona against Real Madrid.
Oh,
Oh,
I
that's
saw him at the
nice. The old
grocery store.
classical at the grocery
Yeah,
store.
yeah,
Publix.
I wasn't at Publix. Nope, I wasn't there taking the picture.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, I
Well,
think with that, we'll wrap it up.
yeah, absolutely. Again, if you made it this far, we appreciate you guys listening. I know it's a bit different, but we've got to bring in our friends from Houston whenever we play. It's a tradition now, and it's just fun to get a different perspective on the match. Sometimes with all the Charlotte podcasts out there, it can be a little bit of an echo chamber, a lot of similar thought processes. So fun to kind of just think about it differently, talk about different stuff. But if you guys enjoy, feel free to follow us at Instagram and on Twitter at offsides_CLTFC, as well as our YouTube channel where we post all the episodes, and feel free to leave a review and we'll shout it out on the podcast. Herman, OSG, shout out your guys' social. You guys should definitely follow them as well. Get a team on the West to support, and it looks like we probably won't make playoffs, so it'll be fun to support Houston if they do.
Yeah, appreciate the love. A lot of big hugs all the way to Carolina. And I'll let OSG do the plug.
Yeah, bro. Like, well, Herman, he's got his personal El Dynamico on his Twitter, and I believe Instagram might be the same. Mine is Old Soccer Guy. You can just, I'm the only old soccer guy, I think, not to tell you the truth. But we're Noodle Tempio on X now. Let me say that correctly. And yeah. And you can find us on like Foxtrot TV on YouTube, and then of course all the platforms. So and we owe you because you got us the last two times. So next time the situation hops up, man, we're gonna get you back and make sure that y'all get on to ours. And people do enjoy hearing from the opponents and learning about the opponents, because it does make a difference when you go into the game. You want to know your opponents. You want to know what you're getting into. You want to know what to expect. You want to see and what you can pay attention for, to those of us that do watch the game like we do. So analytically. So again, thank y'all for having us. We appreciate it. Charlotte, whoop Miami's butt, please.
Yes.
And sorry we talk a lot, Charlotte. Sorry we talk a lot. But yeah, no. We're on YouTube now under Foxtrot, so a bigger Dynamo following. So thank you for the opportunity, and it was fun.
Anytime. Our doors are always open. If you guys ever just want to hop on an episode and talk about any big events or anything like that on the MLS, or just vent about Houston stuff, feel free. We'll welcome you guys on the pod anytime.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. H is up for y'all.
All right. Well, we will catch you guys next week after Charlotte do the unthinkable, conquer Inter Messi, and move on to the semifinals. We will see you guys next week. Bye.
Wow, wow, wow. You got to love that.